Welcome to INN's Student. INN Student is a platform for law students to come here and deliver a lecture on the topic of their choice. Today we have with us law student Hetvi Shah. She is going to speak on international law and human rights in the technological era. She is from Shri KES Jayantilal H. Patel College of Law. So without wasting further time, I would request Hetvi to commence with her lecture. Thank you.
Hello everyone, as you know my topic, I would like to actually start with a question. Have you ever played a multiplayer game online? Now in a multiplayer game, there are players, there are a lot of other things. Now in international law, there are players, the players are the countries, and there is an international law which is basically a rule book for the whole game in the entire world. So now I'd actually make you understand in a very basic concept what international law is. If you see, there is a committee, there's a society, and there are a lot of neighbors in a society. So the neighbors are basically the countries. The committee is a committee that has been formed for the rules of the whole international law. And every person, no matter who it is, has to adhere by the rules fairly. But also, if there is a committee, there are loopholes at the same time, and these loopholes are basically when the human rights are violated. These are the loopholes of the international law. Now, what are human rights? Breaking them into human and rights, they are simple rights which a natural human has by nature, and if they are violated or infringed, uh, there are certain consequences to the same, and these consequences is the rule book to international law. So now, for example, if I expand human rights more, for example, I am a student, I go to a school, my right to speak what I want, or my right to just go out and be safe and not have a fear of anything is a human right. Okay. So now, why did I first of all choose this whole topic? In the current technological era, where anything and everything you do, you go outside, there is digital footprints of yours, there is every single thing that you're traced. You go out, you have a phone. The entire reason that you have a phone means that you have your digital footprints every single place. And now, as technology is emerging, cyber security and a need for privacy has emerged way more than usual. So now there are certain setbacks and there are certain pros to this whole thing. Okay, so I would like to actually start with the positives when it comes to international law and technology and human rights. The positives are firstly, when it comes to social media, when it comes to internet, it creates an awareness that is very much needed. Secondly, it also creates a sense of justice and a sense of right and wrong. And thirdly, it improves the quality of education in general in its entirety. Now, moving to the negatives of the negatives, it is a threat to human rights. So, now moving on to the negative impacts. The very first thing is privacy violations and cybercrime. It has been on peak since 4 to 5 years as technology has been evolving. Secondly, cyber crimes and treaties. So now moving forward, and the reason to this whole topic and why should we exactly care. Now you might wonder, why does all of this matter to me? Well, the truth is, as students and future leaders, you are growing up in the tech era. Every time you go online, you are stepping into a global space where international rules and human rights matter. What you do and how you use your technology makes a very big difference. By understanding these ideas, you can not only protect yourself but also stand up for others. Imagine a world where technology is used to help people. That's the future we would want to build together. Now the next part that I want to touch is the big data and how the big data is being misused, and it is becoming a real human rights concern. In today's tech-driven world, data is everywhere. Every time we browse the internet, we use social media or even just our phones, data about us is being collected. This data is called big data, and while it can be used for good like improving healthcare or public safety, it can be misused at the same time in ways that would harm our rights. Big data misuse happens when personal information about us is collected without our full knowledge and our full consent, and then used for purposes we didn't agree to. A famous example of this is the Cambridge Analytics scandal. In this case, personal data from millions of Facebook users was taken down, and it was used to influence the elections entirely, which violated the right to privacy, which is protected under the international law, specifically under the Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Another problem in big data and the misuse of big data is mass surveillance. Some governments and companies collect huge amounts of data in the name of national security or business purposes, but often this is done with the public's approval or public's consent, violating Article 17 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which says no one's privacy can be interfered lawfully or unfairly. Why does this matter? Because when our data is misused, it's not just about our privacy. It can affect freedom of thought and expression, basic human rights. For instance, targeted advertisements and misinformation based on our data can manipulate how we think, shop, and even vote. Now, some countries have created strong laws to protect data privacy. A good example is the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation in the European Union. This law ensures that individuals have more control over their personal data, but globally, even governments can take advantage. To fix this, we need a stronger international agreement. These should make it mandatory for companies and government to be transparent and collect what the actual data they actually want, get clear permission from users, ensure that data is only for lawful and ethical purposes. Now, after big data and its misuse, we as citizens, we also have a really huge role to play in the society. It's important for all of us to understand how our data is being used and demand better protections. Together, through stronger laws and greater awareness, we can ensure our digital rights are protected in the technological area. So now, next we move on to the topic of data privacy and brain engineering techniques. Now, brain engineering is basically when you are engineered, your brain or your neural activity is engineered in a way where since the very beginning you are brainwashed either in a negative way or a positive way, and your thoughts depend on the algorithms. A very major part in brain engineering are two things, that is indirect brain engineering and direct brain engineering. Indirectly are social media algorithms. When since the very beginning you have been seeing certain things, it creates a perpetual bias in your mind that this is how it is supposed to be and this is what you follow. So now what happens is social media platforms, these aren't just places where we connect with our friends or share updates. They are powerful tools driven by algorithms. They track everything we do. They also track the freedom of thought that we once had, a right protected under international laws like Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But the real game changer is brain engineering technologies like brain chips. Companies like Neuralink are developing implants that connect to brains to computers. These technologies promise breakthroughs in medicine, but at the same time we are not aware of how many risks it actually holds. Brain chips collect data and transmit the data directly from our minds. What happens is, if this data is fallen into wrong hands, the possibility of hacking thoughts, altering memories, or even controlling behaviors to such large extent can be a really big concern. Now, we've already seen how tech can manipulate people. Algorithms create echo chambers where users are only exposed to information that reinforces their existing beliefs. Now imagine this taken a step further with brain engineering. The ability to implant or modify ideas in people's mind could lead to unprecedented control over populations, raising concerns about freedom, autonomy, and justice. Current laws are inadequate to address these challenges. For example, while the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe provides some protections, it doesn't yet cover all the technologies like brain chips. We need new international laws to govern these advancements, ensuring transparency, consent, and the limits on how much it is used. Going forward with artificial intelligence and human rights, artificial intelligence or AI is a revolutionizing everything from healthcare to transportation. However, its rapid development raises serious concerns regarding human rights. AI systems like predictive policing or recruitment algorithms can unintentionally perpetuate biases. For example, if an AI system is trained on biased data, it may reinforce discrimination affecting marginalized groups in hiring, law enforcement, or even medical treatment. Under international law, such practices would violate the right to equality and non-discrimination. As AI becomes more integral part of the society into our lives, there is an urgent need for ethical guidelines for regulation to prevent discriminatory practices and ensure AI is used fairly. Moving on to the next threat that human rights holds is cybersecurity. Within the growing use of digital platforms, the threat of cyber attacks on individuals and government is increasing. Cyber attacks such as data breaches or hacking can expose sensitive information, leading to identity theft, financial loss, or even political destabilization. International law, such as the Convention on Cybercrime, seeks to protect against these threats, but even more importantly, cyber attacks are often infringe upon basic human rights like the right to privacy. As technology advances, the global community must develop better security protocols and legal frameworks to protect against these growing threats and ensure the digital space remains safe for everyone. Now, to wrap up the entire relationship between technology, international law, and human rights, it is more vital than ever. Technology, in all its forms, from big data to AI and cybersecurity, has the power to either enhance or infringe upon our fundamental rights. While we celebrate the progress these technologies bring, we must also stay vigilant about the potential harm it causes to the whole society. International law plays a crucial role in guiding this balance. Laws and regulations must evolve in step with technological advancements to protect the rights that are essential to our freedom. As we continue to navigate the tech area, let's strive to make sure our progress is built on a foundation of respect, dignity, and justice for all our individuals.
Hetvi, thank you very much because you had a nice topic, that is international law and human rights in the technological era. So you have been speaking about data thefts, data protection, and the impacts of, because as on today rampantly everybody is using their credit cards, debit cards, Paytms, ATMs and all that. So most of the data gets collected from there.
Correct.
So it was a nice overview you have given. Also you have said various international conventions which are being there for regulation, and you have also suggested that further more data protection acts need to be formulated.
Correct.
Thank you very much. This is from Hammurabi to you.